viewers watching, it's Siobhan, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap up. So in the month of July I read 7 books and started 2 other ones. I'm going to just go through how much pages I read. I read 1,999 pages. I was only one away from 2,000, which was really cool. And I listened to 11 hours and 32 minutes of audiobook. I participated in 3 readathons for the month of July. 2 month-longs were the Book Junkie Trials and Medievalathon, and the week-long was everybody's favourite, the Reading Rush. And I actually completed that, so I was super happy about that. The first book I read was Spice and Wolf, Volume 2. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I can't really say much because it is the third in the series. It's just about a wolf that is like a god, like a harvest god, and she's travelling with this merchant to get to somewhere she needs to go. And then in this one she was captured and they had to get her out and stuff. It was pretty good. The second book I read was Becoming by Michelle Obama. I ended up giving this a 3 stars. I feel a little bit bad about it. The first half of the book I thoroughly enjoyed, learning about her growing up and her house that she used to live in, which was really, really cool in Chicago. But the second half I found myself skimming quite often because I'm not really a political person. So some parts were interesting, but other parts I just ended up skimming, which is bad. But overall, it was a decent read. I'm glad I read it for sure. The third one that I read is The Dry by Jane Harper, and I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I binged this in 2 days because I love Aaron Falk. He's awesome, and I can't wait to read Force of Nature. Basically, he comes back to the town he used to live in Australia, and a friend of his and his family have been murdered, and he isn't sure that it was murder-suicide, so he tries to figure out what actually happened, and it just hooked me in straight away. I was fully just right. You can imagine everything. It was amazing. I did love this book, and I would highly recommend it. The fourth book I read was Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, but I didn't know it was a series until I looked it up. I read this for the Reading Rush. It was for author's debut novel and to read and watch a book to movie adaptation. So I ended up watching this on Netflix. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really don't know why. It's cheesy as hell, but I enjoyed it for some reason. I guess it's just one of those things that I liked. I've watched the movie like probably almost 10 times now since it came out, so I think we all know sort of what it's about. The zombie boy falls in love with a human and it starts to change the other zombies around them and they start to come back to life. I thought that was really cool. And I like the internal monologue that R has. The 5th book I read, I don't have it, it'll be here, is Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shauna Maguire. The 3rd in the Wayward Children series. I really enjoyed this one. I listened to it on audiobook on Scribd. I gave it 4 stars. It was a lot more adventurous than the previous 2, I would say. I definitely liked the whole like cotton candy, like colourful side. I really did like that, and it brought back a previous character. The 6th book I read was I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. This was a reread, and this was one of my favourite books from last year. I don't know why, I'm fascinated with serial killers. I know that's bad to say, but I just am. I like the psychology behind it all. But I actually think I gave this a higher star rating the second time round. I think I gave it a 4 stars the first time, and then I gave it a 5 stars this time. Basically, it's just about John Wayne Cleaver, who thinks he's named after John Wayne Gacy, but his mother says that he wasn't. But He is obsessed with serial killers. He's also a sociopath. He has no empathy. So he has rules that he sets out for himself so he won't hurt anyone. And there's a serial killer in town, and I can't really say because it's a spoiler like what happens, but I'll just say that it is supernatural. So I really enjoyed this even more the second time. The last book I finished in July was Alex by Pierre Lemaitre. I struggled a little bit with this because it is translated from French. So with my dyslexia, I struggled a little bit with some of the words in here. But once I got into it, I got a little bit better. Basically, this woman is kidnapped, and it wasn't very nice. And this detective, Camille Verhoeven, I don't know if that's how you say it, but I relate to him on a physical level because he's short like I am. I'm only 4'9" and 3/4. The 3/4 count. So he's like a similar height, so I was like, that's cool. I've never related with a character on that type of level before. It was funny. Some of the jokes, it was awesome. But yeah, I'll link the vlog where I was talking about this, and it is spoilery, so just be warned if you do watch it, there is spoilers. And I don't even know how to explain it without spoiling the book, but it just goes in so many different directions that you're like, what? But it's also disturbing and sad. It's very dark, so trigger warnings for sexual abuse and suicide, so fair warning if you want to read it. It's not nice, but I will link the vlog where I talked about this in more detail if you're interested. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I did end up enjoying it in the end. I did get a few laughs out of the whole short jokes and stuff. That was funny. And I would like to find the other books by Pierre Lemaitre. Apparently this is the second in a series and I didn't know. So I need to look for the first one, which I think is called Irene. So I need to look for that one. The other 2 books that I started, the first one was Eragon by Christopher, I think it's either Paolini or Paolini, I don't know. I read 7 hours and 23 minutes of this at 43%. So far I enjoyed it. I, unlike a lot of people, actually liked the movie. I don't know why. The book is definitely more detailed, and I did try and read this book when I was a lot younger and I shouldn't have. It was like too complicated and too high fantasy for a younger kid to be reading. No, it wasn't a smart choice, so I started to go through the series again. The second book that I started was Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I got 31% of the way through and I have 250 pages left. So far, I like the LGBT element to this story. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting take on it, and I did Google, and that some sources say that some people have taken it that Achilles in this, I can't pronounce his name, were suspected to have a gay relationship, which I think is really cool. So I'm all for that. But yeah, so far I did like it. I like the Greek mythology, and also being in Greece, Corfu right now, it was really cool to be reading that at the same time. In honor of the book, I actually bought a Achilles t-shirt. But that is everything, I think. That's all the books I've read. I hope you enjoyed. My Twitter, Instagram, and my Goodreads are in the description as always. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.